Hello my dear students, welcome back. It's so good to see you. How was the quiz? Good to hear that. So it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Well, the beauty about the quiz is whatever you learn and you're doing it what you learn. Alright, that's why it's so easy, because you learned what Mr. Mac taught and you're taking the quiz and you're doing well. Alright, so good. I'm so happy, I'm so proud of you that you came back for the next lesson with a sub lesson that we're going to learn about time after you finished your quiz. Alright, okay, good. Now in this sub lesson, like Mr. Mac said earlier, we're going to talk about time. When I say time, what does it come to your mind? Oh, the clock, the watch. Mr. Mac got a watch. Alright? Now, time does not only means the clock, the watch, okay? It also includes the days, the week, the months, years, decade, and centuries, and things like that. Alright? And we're going to learn all that. When it comes to time, we're going to talk about seconds, minutes, hours. Alright, so we're going to learn all those. Alright, now Mr. Mac got a few clocks with me. I'm going to show you now. There's two type of clock. One is the analog clock and a digital clock. What's the difference between analog and digital? Well, let's start with the digital. Alright, Mr. Mac got the digital clock. Let's bring it over. Alright, this is called the digital clock. Why is it digital? It pretty much tells us the time. Boring, because we don't have to look for the time. Okay, look at that. Right now it says 4:32. Okay, that's the time. Alright, now in this case, this is a under 24-hour system. Now we're going to talk about it. What is the 24-hour system and a 12-hour system? Now with a 24-hour system, it doesn't tell whether it's a AM or PM. When we will able to tell whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon. Now with a 12-hour system, when it tells 4:33, it tells you whether it's the AM or PM. Okay, now don't worry right now about the 24 versus the 12-hour system, because we're going to learn that later on. But now I just want you to understand, how does a digital clock look like? I'm going to bring it closer so you can see better. Can you see that? See, the numbers kind of tells you what is the time right now. Okay, alright, good. Okay, now let's look at the real watch that Mr. Mac loves, which is called analog. Now this is what you call analog. Look at that. This is a nice clock. Alright, look at this. It shows also, now the difference earlier, what does this show? 4:32. Am I right? And then look at this one. This one, you have to find it yourself. Alright, see, it's pointing like after 4 but didn't touch 5 yet. So that means it's a 4. There's a short needle, long needle, and a tiny needle. Alright, okay, this is the small needle and this is the second needle, and this is the short needle is the hour needle and the long needle is the minute needle. Okay, so let's understand again. The small needle is the what needle? The second needle. The long needle is the what needle? The minute needle. And the short needle is what needle? Is the hour needle. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, so when you look at the clock, so that pretty much tells you the hour. And this one pretty much tells you the minutes, and this one is really the second. Okay, you really don't use the second needle in telling you, unless you have a stopwatch or you're doing something precisely you want to know what's, so most of the time, I should say majority of the time, when you want to tell the time, you only look at the hour and the minute. So like say for example, in this case, it's already past the 4 but haven't touched the 5 yet. That means it's 4, okay, and look at that, it passed the 7 and it's pointing, let's see, pointing right here. Okay, so now each section represents 5 minutes. See, this has been scaled. It's been scaled. Alright, so it's been scaled. So each of the 5 minutes, that means this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So 35. Okay, so let's see, 1, 2. So that means 35 plus 1, 36 plus 1 is 37. So that means it's 4:37. See that? That's how you read it. Okay, so keep in mind. Now the second is pretty much going around. When it makes one complete, from 12 it goes one complete, it moves the minute needle by 1 minute. That means this second needle, when it makes one complete cycle, that means it's 60 seconds. 60, see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. That makes it 60 seconds. So once it completes that 60 seconds, and that makes how many minutes? 1 minute. And the same thing with the minute needle. When it completes one complete cycle, which is 60 seconds. Alright, now let's look at the analog clock, okay? And here's the analog clock, okay? Alright, now, do you see the difference between the digital and the analog? What was the difference? The digital pretty much tells you the time. You don't have to look for it. But with analog, you have to find the time because you're pretty much given the needles, alright? With the numbers. And all the numbers are scaled. So the small needle is the second needle. The long needle is the minute needle. And the short needle right there, this one right here, is the hour needles, okay? Okay, let Mr. Mac later on, I'm going to teach you how to read, okay, using the seconds, minutes, and the hour. But let me just show you all the clocks that Mr. Mac got. But sometime you will see the numbers are not shown. It's just they want to be fancy, all right? Let's say, for example, I got another one right here. Okay, now look at this one. Now this one, oh, upside down. See that? It doesn't have what? Numbers in it, okay? They just want to be fancy, okay? Mr. Mac didn't set the clock. It just that doesn't have battery right now. I just want to show you, I brought this with me, okay? So this one shows without a number, but you can guess it, okay? Let's say, for example, if Mr. Mac to adjust this according to what this shows, alright? So, okay, Mr. Mac's going to adjust that. Right now it shows 4:40. So, okay, I already passed it. So, there you go, 4:40, okay? Look at that. Okay, right now it shows 4:40. How do I know that? Now this is from experience, okay? So you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to read a clock that you don't have to figure out how to read a clock that doesn't have numbers in it, okay? Because this is what you are going to deal with, a clock like this, okay? Like I'll show you another fancy clock that Mr. Mac got here. Alright, I'm just going to shake this clock. Oh, look, all the numbers fell to the corner. No, it didn't. It's just a fancy clock that you'll see that a lot of places, homes, they like to have something different, alright? This one shows, I don't care what the time is. That's what pretty much the message is giving you, because all the numbers kind of gathered to the corner, okay? No. We do care about time, okay? It's very important that, let Mr. Mac put this down here. It's very important that you're punctual when you have to go to a function or to a class or to anything, okay? If you are running late, it's very, very polite, okay? The right thing to do is what? To call them and let them know, I'm running late and I'll be there in so and so time, okay? Now be careful, just because you're running late, you don't want to risk your life by rushing, to the friend's house or things like that. Just let them know. They'll understand. Don't surprise them by coming late, okay? It's always good to call them or someone let them know that you're running late and you'll be there, because at least they will know you're running late, okay? And also with the one day when you are working for a company, it's very important you have to be punctual, so you have to give them a lot of time, okay? Because you may not know there could be a traffic jam. Anything could come, so that way you don't go to work late, okay? Because it's not a good habit. It's not a good habit, okay? Punctuality, it's a right thing to do, all right? For any event, any functions, you always want to be punctual. If you're told to be there at 7 p.m. for a birthday party, be there at 6:55. So be there exactly 7 by 6:55, a little bit early. That's a nice thing, because the function starts at 7. It's good you to be a few minutes early so that they can start the function accordingly, all right? Okay, good. But that does not mean if you're running late that you have to rush, okay? It's not. Let them know, okay? Because you don't want to risk, okay? You don't want to get into any trouble when you're rushing there, okay? Good. Well, let's get back here, okay? Now, let's look at this. Okay, this is called what clock? What type of clock? Analog clock, all right. Well, Mr. Mac's going to get a clock that we're going to talk about how to read the clock, all right? So I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Oh, alright, Mr. Mac made it in a second, as I said. Alright, good. Oh shoot, Mr. Mac bent the needle and broke the needle out of the clock, alright? Because I was rushing. Okay, as I said, if you're running late, You let them know, but you don't want to risk, okay? So, but keep in mind, punctuality is very important. All right, Mr. Mac got fixed it, all right? Okay, good. Now, this is the small needle, all right? And what does the small needle represent? The second, right? Represent the second. And now this is the long needle. And what does the long needle represent? The minute. Very good. And what about the short needle? Very good, the hour. Okay, so let's repeat again. The small needle, second. The long needle, minute. And the short needle, hour. Okay, so very important. Okay, so now look at this. You got 12, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's been scaled into 12 sections. Okay, that is 12 sections. Now each section is broken up into 5 minutes. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in this case, it's been told, you're given, but if you look at the real clock, they don't tell you the number. Okay, they pretty much put the scale. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so in this one they just pretty much put the scale, but this one they kind of showed it because this is something that Mr. Max used for teaching, so that's why they kind of show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means from 12 to 1 is 5 minutes, from 1 to 2 is another 5 minutes, 2 to 3 is another 5 minutes, 3 to 4 is another 5 minutes, and so forth. That means if I to read a minute when the long needle sits on, let's say it sits right there, alright, that means 5, 10, 15 minutes. The long needle traveled 15 minutes. Now if I push it to the 6, it traveled 30 minutes. See that? So it's very important to understand, alright, the role of the long needle. Now let's just understand the role of the short needle, I mean the small needle. The small needle is the second needle, alright? Okay, what it does is, let's say it starts from 12. And then it goes all the way around. Okay, it goes all the way around, and then it makes one complete cycle. Alright, when it makes one complete cycle and back to where it started, alright, that makes 60 seconds. Alright, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So the small needle represents seconds. So it made one complete cycle, it makes 60 seconds. When it makes one complete cycle, the 60 seconds, and notice that the small needle always goes fast. It goes, see that? It goes fast. Alright? So when it makes one complete cycle, makes how many seconds? 60 seconds. When it makes 60 seconds, the minute needle moves 1. That means 1 minute. 60 seconds makes 1 minute. See that? So when the small needle makes another 60 seconds, it moves it to 2 minutes. Another 60 seconds, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and so forth. As this moves, look at that. What happened? Look at the short needle. But the short needle is also moving. And by the time that long needle reaches to the 12, from 1 it moved to the 2. See that? That means 1 hour. So 60 minutes makes 1 hour. So when I move it again, now look at that. When I move it again, so I moved it back to the where it started. Now look, I moved it to 3. See that? From 2 to 3. Now look again. If I move the long needle, and look at that, it's moving. See that this short needle is moving, but it didn't get to the 4 yet. Alright? But the moment I get closer, it's getting closer. Still not touching 4 yet. The moment I touch 12, boom, right there. It points like the 4. That is a 4 o'clock. See that? Right now it's at 4 o'clock. Now what happened if it moves it right here? It's 4, 5. It's 4, 5. What about it moves it right there? 4, 15. How is that? Because remember, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay? So each section represents 5 minutes. So if I were to put it in 9 and ask you what's the minute? What's the time right now? It's not 5 yet. Okay? It's getting closer to 5. It's 4, 9 is pointing. So you know each section is 5 minutes. You just use the timetable. 9 times 5 is what? 45. So it's 45 minutes. So 4:45. See that? If it touches 11 times 5 is 55. So it'll be 4 55. So now keep in mind, as it gets closer, it looks like as though it's touching 5. It just got closer to 5. Okay, so keep in mind, when it touches 12, then when it's a 5. Okay, and you notice that as it's far away, when it's the minute is smaller, like a 5 or 10 or 15, see, it's still closer to 5. As it gets bigger, as it gets like 55 or 50, 55, look at that, it's getting closer to 6. But it's not 6 yet, okay, until it touches 12. Alright? So this might not be calibrated, it might have just went off because it's just a mechanical, alright? So that's why it may not show, when I moved it still look like as though it's touching the 6, but it's not, okay? Okay, keep in mind, let's Mr. Mac bring the other one, the professional one. This one, let's say for example, if you look at this one right here, right now it shows 5, okay? Let's say if I move it, and then I put it into 50. So it shows 450. See that? 450. Now, and as I move it right there, there you go, getting closer to 5, and then right there it touches the 5. Alright? So it's very important, alright? So you keep in mind, when it's long needle get closer to the 12, the short needle get closer to the next number. In this case, it will be the 5. It's getting closer to 5. But it's not 5 yet. It's still 445 because pointing at 9. Alright, how do we know that 45? Because 9 times 5 is 45. What about if it shows like 10? So it shows like 10 is what? 450, because 5 times 10 is what? 50, okay? So let's say for example, you already passed the 5 and then went to 2. So what's the time right now? 5, 10. How do I know 5, 10? Because 2 times 5 is 10. See that? So that makes it 5, 10. Alright? So keep in mind, this is the second needle. See, the second needle moves fast. So the moment it completes one circle, what does that? Means 60 seconds, which means 1 minute. If the long needle complete one circle, how many minutes? 60 minutes, which means 1 hour. Alright? Good. Well, that should lead us to the relationship between the units, alright? So let's do that. Let's talk about that, okay? So now we know that, okay? So we know 60 seconds makes how many minutes? 1 minute, alright? 1 minute, okay? And then 60 minutes makes how many hours? 1 hour. Very good. Now, when that 1 hour rotates around, okay, let me take it back here, and here, see that? Okay, right now, let's say for example, let's say this one right now is 12 in the let's say midnight, okay, 12 midnight. Alright, and here you are still sleeping, am I right? So 12 midnight, you're sleeping, so this clock just keep going, and then the alarm goes off. Time for you to get up to go to school, alright? It's 6:30, alright? 6:30, you got up, you take your breakfast, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, and then change clothes, and then you take breakfast, alright? By then it's already 7:30, okay? 7:30, and then you go to school and you study hard, because you're a Math Week 3 student and Mr. Mac's proud student. You study hard, and then let's say 2 o'clock, you get out of school, alright? You come home, you have a dinner, and then you eat lunch, and then you do some Math Week 3, Math Week 3 lessons, and you do some school work, and then you go out and have a nice play, exercise and play, and then you come back, take a shower, and then you have a dinner, and then you do some homework, and then you get ready to go to bed. Alright, so you go to bed, and then you sleep. The clock is keep going, am I right? So it touches the midnight. That's considered the end of the day. How many times did this thing circled around the hour? 12 hours, another 12 hours. What is that? 24 hours. That makes what? 1 day. So you spend 1 whole day. See that? You woke up in the morning, you took the breakfast, went to school, you studied, you come home, you had a lunch, and then you did some homework, and you did Math Week 3, and then you went out and played some games, and then you came home, took a shower, and then did other necessary things need to be done, and then you had you had your dinner, and then you went to bed, and then when you're sleeping, the clock is keep moving, and then come to midnight. See, that's 1 whole day. See that? And that's 24 hours. So now let's go back here. So that means 24 hours makes 1 day, alright? Okay, keep in mind. Now, that Now, if you have 7 days, it makes 1 week. Keep in mind now, 30 or 31. So 28 for the month of February, okay? Only month of February that uses 28. Other than that, you have 30 and 31. So Max is going to show you how to know which month is going to be 30 and which month is going to be 31. But just keep in mind, February, it's always 28, only on the leap years, okay? On the leap years, it gets to 29, alright? So keep it between 20 and 29. But let's figure out 30 and 31. So let's say this 30 or 31 or 20, makes it 1 month, okay? So 1 month, alright? Alright, we'll get back to this. So I'm going to show you how to figure out which month is 30 and which month is 31, okay? And of course, you already know February always is the 28 after 4 years in the leap years, which will be 29, alright? Now, then we know 12 months makes 1 year. See that? Alright, so 12 months makes 1 year, and then you got 10 years makes 1 decade, and 100 years makes 1 century, okay? Which is also 10 decades, okay? 10 decades. So keep in mind, alright? Okay, so make sure you know this, the relationship between seconds and minute, minute and hour, hour and day, day and week, and then of course 31 days or 30 days equals to 1 month, and then 12 months equals to 1 year, and then 10 years equals to 1 decade, and 100 years equals to 1 century, or 10 decades equals to 1 century. Alright, now let's talk about the months. Alright, how do I know which month is 30, which month is 31? Alright, and you know that February is always what? February is always 28, except on the leap year will be 29. Now I want you to use this knuckle method, alright? Put your knuckles like this, alright? Now look at this. Now this is the knuckles right here. See that? There's a bump. There's a bump and then there's a slope. It goes kind of inside, alright? Now let's start with the first bump, alright? The first knuckle, we're going to call that January. Okay, that means when the knuckle sticks out, it's considered 31 days. When it goes inside, kind of like a slope inside, that is 30 days. Now in this case, except for February, alright? Exceptional for February. So January is going to be 31. February, and we know it's going to be the 28 for the first 4 years, and then the leap year is going to be January, and then February 28, except on the leap year is going to be 29, alright? Then March, see, back to the bump again, the knuckles again, alright? So that's considered 31. So March, and then April is on the slope side of it, which will be what? 30, okay? April, and then May, back to knuckle again, 31. And then June on the slope, see that? So it'll become what? 30. And then July, back on the knuckle. So right, it's what? 31. Now remember, July, it's on this, you repeat again on this, okay? Don't pass it. So because you repeat again to come back, repeat again will be what? August, okay? August again is 31. So July and August stays on the same knuckle, alright? Now I'm going to reverse, see that? I'm coming back. So July, August, and then September back on the slope, which is what? 30, okay? So October, it's on the knuckle, which is 31. November is on the slope, is 30, and then December is what? 31. See, that's on the knuckle. See that? Okay, let's do it again. All right, let's start again. January, it's on the knuckle right there, which is what? 31. February, it's exceptional, okay? It's an option. So, I mean, it's exceptional. It's exceptional, which is what? 28, except on the leap year, it's going to be 29. And then March, see, it's on the knuckle again. It's on the knuckle. So, it's going to be what? 31. And then April is on the slope. It'll be what? 30. Okay? May is on the knuckle, which is what? 31. And then June is what? On the slope side of it. Okay, it'll be what? 30. July is on the knuckle, which is what? 31. Alright? So we're going to reverse again. So you want to keep the August, okay? August also on the knuckle, so it'll be 31. So what will be after August? September. So September falls on the slope. So it will be 30. September, and the October on the knuckle again. Knuckle, okay, see that? So it will be what? 31. And then October, then November. What's November? On the slope will be what? Exactly, it's going to be 30, and now we fall on the knuckle for December will be 31. See that? Very easy, straightforward, isn't it? So you should able to. So whenever you want to figure out how many days are there in a month of the certain month, you should able to. Let's even ask you for the month of June, how many days are there? Well, January, February, March, April, May, June fell on the slope. It's what? 30 days. Okay, how about November? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. It's what? 30 days, alright? Okay, how about March? January, February, March. It's right on the knuckle. It'll be what? Very good. It's 31 days. See that? Pretty easy, isn't it? Okay, good. So now you should able to, if I tell you the month of August, there are how many days? August, so January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So it's 31 days. If I say 31 days of August makes how many months? 1 month. Alright? Okay, 1 month. Okay, good. Well, Mr. Max going to... We can also use the rotation method, okay, to create the relationship between minute and second and minute and hour and day and things like that. Okay, so what do? We always put the bigger unit to your left and the smaller unit to the right. What I mean by that, you put the minute. Okay, so you put the minute. So now abbreviation for minute is MI. Now abbreviation for second is SEC, and then for hour you can put HR. Alright, so keep in mind. So we're going to put just MI, minute, and then we want to go to second. So when you go from minute to second, so when you're going from minute to second, you multiply that by 60. Alright, and when you go from second to minute, you divide that by 60. Okay, because we know that 1 minute makes how many seconds? 60 seconds. So 1 times 60 gives me 60 seconds. 60 seconds makes how many minutes? 1 minute. So 60 seconds divided by 60 seconds gives me 1 minute. Alright, so keep in mind. Now then, if we go from hour to minute, what do? We also multiply that by 60. Okay, so that means 1 hour makes 60 minutes. And if it's 60 minutes make how many hours? We divide that by 60. Gives me 1 hour. See that? So vice versa. Now if we go from hour to day, so we go from day to hour, what do? We multiply that by 24 to get to hour. And we go from hour to day, we divide that by 24. And then what about week? So we go from week to day, we multiply that by 7, and then we go from day to week, we divide that by 7. Alright? So keep in mind. Now one more thing I didn't write down for you is year. Now there are 365 days in 1 year. Okay? Keep in mind, in 1 year. Alright, so 12 months makes 1 year, 365 days makes 1 year. That's another thing I want you to know. Alright, so I just want you to know some of the basics. So make sure you know some of the basic. Alright, with a week and another word for month. Alright, so so if it's a year and I want to go to month, so what do? I multiply that by 12. Okay, and when I go from month to year, I divide that by 12. Alright, so I just want you to know these are some of the basic things I want you to know. Converting between minute to second, hour to minute, day to hour, week to day, and year to month. Alright, okay, good. Let Mr. Mac erase the board and we'll do few problems dealing with the conversion. Okay, and I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, okay, let's say for example, if I give you 1 hour and I want you to find out how many minutes. So what do? We use the conversion, alright, because we know that 1 hour makes how many minutes? 60. We're going to multiply, so we're going to go that direction. That means we're going to substitute the hour with 60 minutes. Alright, so that means 1 times 60 is what? 60, exactly. So that makes 60 minutes right there, 60. See that? Pretty easy, isn't it? So if I would give you 5 hours, so if I give you 5 hours and ask you to find how many minutes, what do? I take where the hour is, I'm going to substitute with times 60. Okay, so I'm going to times it with 60. So 5 times 60, okay, minute. Alright, so what do? We use the long multiplication method. So I'm going to put 60 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, that makes it 300 minutes. So that makes it 300 minutes. So 300 minutes. So 5 hours equals to 300 minutes. Now I can give it so many different ways. Let's say, for example, if I give you 12 minutes and I want to find out how many seconds. So I want to find out how many seconds is 12 minutes. Alright? Okay, now Mr. Max going to use the abbreviated, okay, like MI and second in future, alright? So that way it will, Mr. Mac don't have to spell it out the whole thing, but you will know what I'm writing, okay? So we know that 12 minutes we want equals to, so we want to convert the 12 minutes to seconds, and we know that from minute to second is what? Multiply that by 60, okay? So we're going to times 12 with 60. So what we do? We use the long multiplication method. We line it up. So 60 times 12. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. And then 1, we can start right here. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. So we're going to add them. 0, 2, 1 plus 6 is 7. So that gives me 720 seconds. Alright? So that means 12 minutes makes 720 seconds. Now, let's say if I give you 5 days and I want to find out 5 days equals to how many hours. So what do? Where the day is, I substitute that with, from day to hour, what do? Multiply that with 24. Alright? So I'm going to multiply that with the 24 hours. 24 hours. And then with the 5, okay? So we're going to line it up. So we're going to use the long multiplication method. So I'm going to put 24 times 5. So lining up, 5 times 4 is 20. And then carry the 2, put the 0. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So that gives me 120 hours. So 120 hours. So 5 days equals to 120 hours. See that? So it's very straightforward. So the key is, Mr. Mac want you to understand how to use this rotation method, alright? Because I can't list out everything, and you should be able to do it, okay? I give you a sample of it, and you should use this template. It's kind of like a template. I give you a template how to do it. Then you should apply this rotation method to anything, alright? It's like you should be able to give you anything, you should be able to do that. If I ask you, if I told you I give you 5 weeks equals to how many days? So if I give 5 weeks, and I want to find out how many days. So what's the template that I kind of showed you? First you got to understand, week to days, you multiply that by 7. See that? You got to memorize the relationship between minute and second, hour and minute, day and hour, week and day, year and month, and all that. In order to be able to use the rotation, that way you can translate that into a rotation method and then use the rotation method solving like this. Because without knowing week and day relationship, you can't do it. And once you memorize it, once you know it, you know that 1 week equals to how many days? 7 days. That means from week to day, you multiply that by 7. Alright? So that means I substitute this with times 7 days. So 5 times 7 is 35 days. So that means 5 weeks have 35 days. See, that is very important, okay? Alright, so we can learn how to go to that direction. Now we want to learn how to go this direction, from hour to day or second to minute. Alright, from the small unit to go to the big unit. See how we do that way. Alright, give me a few seconds. Let me erase the board and we'll do some of those problems and I'll be back. Alright, my dear students, now let's say, for example, if I were to give you 240 seconds and I want to find out how many minutes. So which direction are we going? We're going from seconds to minute. Second to minute. I'm dividing it by 60. See that? When you go from minute to second, from big unit to small unit, I multiply. When I go from small unit to big unit, I divide. So, in other words, right here, the second, I'm going to put divided by 60 minute. to get to that one. So I put 240. Alright, so when you have something like this, you're going to use long division. Now keep in mind, when you're dividing, when you have a 0, 0 on the back, you can cancel. Alright, now so once we did that, that pretty much brought down to what? Our multiplication level, okay, because 24 and 6 in our multiplication range. So 24 divided by 6, very good, it's 4, because 6 times 4 is 24. So that gives me 24 divided by 6 is 4 minutes. Okay, so that means 240 seconds equals to 4 minutes. Alright, good. See that? Now let's say, for example, if I were to give you, let's say 24 hours. Alright, and I want to find out how many days. How many days are there? So first look at that. From hour to day, we divide that by 24. So I'm going to put here 24, divide that by 24 day. Alright, so 24 divided by 24 gives me 1 day. So that means 1 day. So 24 hours equals to 1 day. See that? Pretty easy, isn't it? Alright, okay, let's say for example, if I give you 28 days. I give you 28 days and I want to find out how many weeks. So which direction am I going? From days to weeks. Days to weeks. That means I have to divide that by 7. Divide that by 7. So I'm going to substitute the day by divide that by 7. So 28 divided by 7, and that's in our timetable, which is what? 4 times 7 is what? 28. So that means 28 divided by 7 is, so we're going to do 28 divided by 7. Okay, we're going to put a week next to it. Okay, so that makes 28 divided by 7 is what? 4. So that makes it 4 weeks. So you can put a 4 right there. Alright, so very straightforward. So the key thing is what? Again, Mr. Matt cannot list everything, okay, to show you, but you need to understand the principle. The principle is what? When you go from the small unit to big unit, you divide. When you go from big unit to small unit, you multiply. Alright, use this rotation method. You will not have a problem. Let's say, for example, I'll give you an example. I give you, let's say I give you 36 months. And I want to find out how many years. So what do? We put 36 months. And we want to find out how many years. In order for me to do this, I need to know the relationship between month and year. So 1 year equals to how many months? 12 months. See that? So 12 months. And we're going from where? Month to year. That means what I have to do? Divide that by 12. See that? Divide that by 12. So that means I'm going to substitute right here. Divide that by 12. I'm getting to year. So I will put the year. Alright? So 36 divided by 12 from our timetable, which is 3. Okay? That makes it 3 years. And I put 3 right there. So 36 months equals to 3 years. Alright? Okay, good. Alright, my students. Let's take another scenario, okay? Let's say, for example, okay, if I were to give you, okay, 2 hours, and I give you 35 minutes, and I want you to give me all this in a form of minutes. See that? Okay, look at this. I give you 2 hours, 35 minutes. I want you to give me everything, convert that all into form of minutes. This one's already in a form of minutes, so I don't have to convert it. But the one that I need to convert is what? The 2 hours. So once I convert that 2 hours to minute, I add that 35 minutes to it. That should give me the total minutes. See that? Let's do that. So we know that 2 hours equals to how many minutes? We want to find that. And we're going from hours to minute. Hours to minute, what do? Multiply that by 60. Okay? So I'm going to substitute this, multiply that by 60. Now, 2 times 60 is what? Alright, we can use a long multiplication method, 60, and then line it up with 2. 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 6 is 12. That gives me 120. So that gives me 120 minutes. Okay, now remember, we only converted that 2 hours. We also got the 35 minutes to add on to it. So be careful, pay attention to that. Don't forget that. If you put 120 minutes, that's wrong, because you're only representing for the 2 hours. What about the 35 minutes? See that? Once you got the 120, now you take the 120, you add that with 35 minutes. So 0 plus 5 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, and then you bring the 1 down. So it gives me 155 minutes. That is your final answer. Alright, so don't forget that one more step, adding the 35 to the 2 hours, which is the 120 minutes. Alright, now let's say for example, if I go reverse, if I were to give you, okay, so let's say I gave you 375 minutes, and I want you to express that in the form of hours and minutes. Okay, so keep in mind, you're breaking that 375 minutes into hours and minute. So first, let's change that minute into hours. Okay, that means if I want to go from minute to hours, what am I doing? Dividing that by 60. Okay, when I divide, I'm going to get some balance, remainder. Alright, the balance or the remainder is going to be my minute. The quotient is the one that's going to be my hours. Alright, let's do that. Let's see. Let's first write that down. 375 minute. We want to make that into form of hours first. Okay, so that means we're going to divide that by 60. So 375. Okay, so we're going to divide that by 60. Okay, so we're going to find out how many hours first. So that means what method we're going to use? We're going to use the long division method. Okay, so we're going to use the cage approach. So I'm going to put 375, which is kind of into Mr. Mac, inside the cage. The 60 is kind of out from Mr. Mac. I'm going to put outside the cage. So let's look at that. First number, first digit, I cannot divide that by 60. Second digit, 37. Still I cannot divide that by 60. Third digit is the one. So we're going to use the trial and error method. Okay, so we're going to say, let's say for example, how about we try 5? Okay, 5 times 60. Okay, so we're going to do 60 times 5. Okay, so 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 6 is 30, 300. Look like we can add one more 60 to it. This is 375 and this is 300. I can put another 60, can give me what? 360. That means I can do 6. So I can try 60 times 6. 6 times 0 is 0, 6 times 6 is 36. That's the closest it got to 375. So I'm going to put 6. 6 times 0 is 0, 6 times 6 is 36. I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 0, 7 minus 6 is 1, 3 minus 3 is 0. So now look at this. This is my balance or remainder, which would be the minute. The quotient, which is the 6, is going to be my hour. Okay, because I cannot divide this anymore. See that? Now remember, when you get less than 60, that's it. You keep it as that unit belong to, which is 60. In this case, less than 60, which means I'm going to keep it as a minute. All right. If I have to use the hour and day, if it's less than 24, I'm going to keep it in a form of hour. If it's in a month, if it's less than 12, I'm going to keep it in a month. If it's second, if it's less than 60, I'm going to keep it in a form of second. But if it's 60, I will convert that 60 into 1 minute. If it's 24, I convert the hour, 24 hour into 1 day. You don't express 24 hours. Alright? You want to say it's a 1 day. See that? If it's 23 hours, you cannot express in a form of day. You just say 23 hours because it's less than the 24. Okay, so that means we found here 6 is going to be what? My 6 hours. My balance is going to be the 10 minutes. Okay, so 6 hours 10 minutes makes 375 minutes. Pretty easy, isn't it? Alright, the key thing is what? Make sure you understand this. Make sure you know the conversion between minute and second, hour and minute, day and hour, week and day, and year and month. Okay, and other thing that we talked about earlier, you gotta have that in your fingertips. Okay, once you have that, you will not have any problem of solving any type of problem I give you, because this is the foundation, and the rest is what? Just arithmetic. Okay, good. Well, this should prepare you for the quiz. Well, this should prepare you for the hands-on practice. Okay, well, let's see what Pablo's doing. He is awesome, isn't he? He's busy preparing the hands-on practice for you, and he cares so much about you, just as much as Mr. Mac do. Because why? You're special. You are the best, and you deserve the best, and that's why Pablo and Mr. Mac work really hard to bring only the best for you, and it is coming from the best. Alright? Okay. Alright, my dear students, give me a few seconds and I'll be back, and then we'll call Pablo out. Alright? I'll see you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, are you ready for some hands-on practice? Good. Well, how about you call Pablo? Do it, call him. There he is. Listen, they heard you. Alright. Pablo, come on over. Alright, Pablo, hand over the worksheet. Our dear students are ready for some hands-on practice. And alright, Pablo, here it is, my dear students. And have fun. Make sure you pause the video, and once you're done, invite Mr. Mac in. Alright? Okay, have fun. Alright, okay, good. Whoa, you got 2 questions with 4 on each, which is 8 altogether. Alright, Mr. Mac already got listed the first part of it with the 4 out of the first question. Okay, let's do that. Convert. We're converting 5 years into months. Okay, we're going from years to months. So which one would that be? Years to months. Years to months. What do? We multiply that by 12. Alright, so that means I'm going to substitute this one by times 12. Alright, so 5 times 12 is what? 60. So that makes 60 months. Alright, that makes 60 months. Okay, next one. We're going from hours to minutes. So I want to find out in 8 hours there are how many minutes. So what do? First we want to find out the relationship between hours and minutes. So we're going from hours to minute. We have to multiply that by 60. Okay, so we're going to substitute this one, multiply that by 60. Now remember, when you have a big digit like this, you want to use the log multiplication. So I'm going to put multiplication. I'm going to put 60 times, make sure you 8, line it up with the first digit. Alright, so in this case 8 times 0 is what? 0. 8 times 6, 48. Okay, very important, 48 timetable. Alright, so that means 8 hours makes 480 minutes. Okay, good. Now let's look at the next one. You got 5 hours 50 minutes, and they want everything to be in minutes, and this is already in minutes. See that? Only this is the one I'm going to convert it into minutes. Okay, so we want to find out what is 5 hours equals to minutes. So we're going from hours to minutes. Hours to minute. I'm going to multiply that by 60. So I'm going to take 5 times that with 60. Okay, I'm going to substitute with 60. So 5 times 60 is what? Let's use the long multiplication method. 60, line it up with 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 0, 3. Now, that's only for the 5 hours. Remember, we got also 50 minutes. So we're going to add the 50 minutes to it. See that? We're going to add that. 0 plus 5 is 5, and then bring the 3. So that gives me 350 minutes. The 300 was for the 5 hours. The 50 minutes, you're given 5 hours, 50 minutes. So you're given 5 hours, 50 minutes. So we found the 5 hours is 300, and we add the 50 minutes to it. So that gives me 350. Okay, good. And you got it? Good job, alright? Okay, now let's look at 12 minutes 35 seconds. And they want in the form of seconds. This is already in seconds. So I don't have to do anything with it. But this one's in minute. So I want to keep them all in the same unit. See, that's how that means I have to convert this minutes into seconds. So I want to find out 12 minutes, okay, equals to how many seconds. So where am I going from? Minute to second. Minute to second. I multiply that by 60. Okay, so I'm going to substitute that with multiply by 60. So 12 times 60. So we can line it up. Alright, so let's do that. So let's put 60 times 12. Very important, lining them up. Alright, now we're going to multiply. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. So I'm going to put 2, 1. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. See that? Once I line them up, okay, now I can add them. Now be careful when I start with the 1. See that? Came straight down here. Alright, 1. So, okay, 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. Now I'm going to add them. 0, 2, 2, 1 plus 6 is 7. Now that gave me 720 seconds. That for 12 minutes. So keep in mind, I still got 35 minutes to add to it. So I take 720, line it up the 35 minutes with it. Now I'm going to add 0 plus 5 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, and then bring the 7. So that means 755 seconds. So for 12 minutes, 35 seconds is 755 seconds. Keep in mind, the 12 minutes is the one gave me 720. Then I have to add the 35 also. So pay attention to that, okay? So you convert that and then you add the 35 to give you the total seconds. Alright? And I know you got it. Right, and good job. Okay, let's go to the second one. Now let Mr. Mac erase the board and then we'll do the second problem and I'll be back with you. Alright, my dear student. Okay, let's look at problem second. Alright, second problem. 2, which is also convert. Alright, now we're given 360 minutes equals to how many hours? Alright, so we're going from minutes to hours. Minutes to hours. This direction, see that? The bottom side of the direction, which is what? Divide that by 60. Very good. So we're going to substitute right here. We're going to divide that by 60. Okay, so we're going to take 360, divide that by 60. Now, whenever you divide two numbers, alright? Okay, when you have 0 in the end, you can cancel them out. See that? This 0, you can cancel them out. Okay, now you got 36 divided by 6, which is what? It's in our timetable range. Okay, so that way we don't have to do the long division. 36 divided by 6 is what? 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. Alright, so that means 6 hours. Okay, 6 hours. So 360 minutes makes 6 hours. Alright, let's look at B. B, you're given 24 months equals to how many years? Alright, so again we need to know the relationship between months and year. Alright, let's look at that. Months and year. The months and years right there. And we're going on the bottom way of the rotation. Okay, the bottom part of the rotation, which is divide that by 12. Divide that by 12. So it's very important. Once you know the relationship between the units, and you should be able to put them as in a form of rotation method, and you should be able to do it. Okay, that means we're dividing it by 12. So we can take 24, we can substitute that with divided by 12. 24 divided by 12 is what? 2. Okay, alright, from our timetable again. So 2, that means it's 2, that's 2 years. 2 years. So 24 months makes 2 years. Alright, let's look at C. Alright, let's do C, okay? Now C, you're given 755 seconds equals to how many minutes and how many seconds? See that? Now this one we're breaking it into two parts, the minute and second. Now keep in mind, first let's find out what the relationship between second to minute. Second to minute is divide that by 60. So we're going from the bottom part of the rotation, which is 60. So when I divide 755 by 60, the quotient that I get, it's going to be the minute. The remainder, which is going to be the second, I'm going to put right there. See that? Because we want to keep anything less than 60 in a form of second. When you divide that by 60, the quotient is going to be your minute. Alright, let's do that. Okay, so we want to go from 755 seconds to minutes. Alright, so in order to do that, what do? We have to divide that by the second. We're going to substitute that with what? Second to minute, 60. We're going to divide that by 60. So 755, divide that by 60. And what method we're going to use? It's a big number, so we're going to use the long division. It's outside our timetable range, so we're going to use the cage approach. 755 is kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put inside the cage. 755. 60 is kind of out. I'll put outside the cage. In 7 there's how many 60? None. I cannot, so I would go to the next one. 75 there's how many 60? 1. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. Minus. 5 minus 0 is 5. 7 minus 6 is 1. And I'm going to bring the 5 down. So 155 is how many 60? Well, 2 times 60 gives me 120. See that? So I can put 2. So 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. Now I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. Now, there is no more numbers for me to bring it down. So that means 35 is my what? My balance. I cannot divide anymore with 60. Am I right? So I'm going to keep it. That's 35. But you know that this is your quotient. That will be the 1 minute. 12 minutes, 35 seconds. Right there. So the balance, because it's not, you cannot convert the 35 anymore to minutes because it's less than what? 60. Okay, 60. Okay, less than 60. All right. Okay, good. That's your right there. You got it? Good job. Okay, let's look at D. Now D, you're given 50 months. Okay, 50 months equals to how many years and months? All right. So let Mr. Mac erase this out. Months. Okay. So we want, again, the same principle we're going to use for this one. So we're going to take the 50 months, we're going to divide that. Let's see what's the relationship with months and year. Months and years, divide that by 12. So we're going to divide that with 12, 50 divided by 12. The quotient is going to be year, the remainder is going to be the month. Alright, so in other words, we're going to break that 50 months into years and months. Alright, so let's do that. So we're going to take 50 months. First, we're going to convert that in a form of years. That means if I want to convert that in form of years, I divide the months with what? 12. Okay, so I'm going to divide that by 12. Divide that by 12. 50 divided by 12. Now, we're going to use the long division method. Okay, so we're going to use a cage approach. The 50 is kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put it inside the cage. The 12 is kind of out. I'll put outside the cage. In 50, that's how many 12 from our timetable. What are the closest that get to 50 from our timetable? 4. 4 times 12 is 48. See that? 48. It would be the closest that get to 50. That means 4 times 12. So 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, minus, give me 2. So now I cannot divide anymore with 12. That's that's smaller than 12. That means 2 is my remainder. 4 is my quotient, which makes 4 years. 2 is my remainder, which is my 2 months. So 50 months makes 4 years and 2 months. See that? You broke it up. Now on this one, you got a round number. That's why no remainder. You keep it 6 hours, 2 years. But when you have the remainder, that's how you break it in the form of minutes and seconds, years and months. Alright, you got it? Good job. Proud of you. Alright, good. Well, let's go to the next part of it. Okay, we're still in the same sub-lesson. This time we're going to learn how to add, subtract, multiply and divide. Okay, so now this is the basic foundation. Okay, so we're going to apply that in that. So make sure you understand this. Alright, so then we'll continue with the second part of the sub-lesson. Okay, and give me a few seconds and I'll be back with you. Welcome back, my dear students. Are you ready for addition, subtraction, multiplication and division? Alright, good. Alright, it's going to be fun. Alright, okay, let's say for example, Mr. Mac to give you, let's say 13 minutes and then let's say 45 seconds, and then I give you 27 minutes and then 50 seconds and ask you to add this. Alright, now very important. Okay, adding. Alright, we're going to add this too. First we got 13 minute 45 seconds and then 27 minute 50 seconds. I'm going to add them. The key thing is lining them up based on their family. In other words, by their units. If it's second, line them up second. Minute, you line them up by the minute. And when you add them, you always add from the smallest unit, which will be the second. Okay, first let's line them up. So you got 13 minute 45 seconds. Okay, we're going to start with that first. 50 seconds. Okay, and then 27, alright, minute. It's good to write down the units. That way you know you are adding with the second and second, minute and minute. Alright, because if I would have given you a problem without the minute, I just give you 13 minutes plus 27 minute and 50 seconds. If you don't know, you can mix it up. See that? It's very important, okay? So let's add them. Always start from the very right, the small unit for addition, okay? So 5 plus 0 is 5, 4 plus 5 is 9. So that's giving me 95 seconds. Wait a minute. 95 seconds. That's past the 60 seconds because we know that what? We know what? 1 minute equals to 60 seconds. See that? I can convert the 60 inside the 95 into a 1 minute. I can break this in a form of minute. That means 60 seconds plus, if I had to subtract, 5 minus 0 will be 5, 9 minus 6 is 3, that means 35 seconds. See that? I broke it down in two parts, 60 seconds and 35 seconds. Why is that? Because the 60 seconds I can turn that into 1 minute. Okay? So I can turn that into 1 minute. So that means 1 minute and 35 seconds. Okay? Now this is one way of doing it. If it's a big numbers, okay, you can use a long division method by taking 95 seconds, you divide that by 60. Okay? And then you can use the cage approach. So 95 you put inside the cage and 65 outside the cage. In 95 there's how many 60? 1. Okay, so 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 6 is 6, subtract, 5 minus 0 is 5, 9 minus 6 is 3. So 35. This is my quotient, 1. See that? 1 minute. My balance, my remainder is the 35 seconds. That's for this one. Okay, that's another way of doing it. Okay, now I take this 1 minute, I'm going to take it up here, I'm going to add it to right there. See that? Because that's a minute family. You keep it to the minute. The 35 seconds, I'm just going to write down here as 35 seconds. Alright, so now I'm going to add 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 7 is 11. 11, 1, carry 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. So that makes it 41 minute. So 41 minute, 35 second. That should be a final answer. Alright, so it's very straightforward. So I can give it to you in another one. Let's say for example, if I were to give you, now the same problem, if I were to given you 13 minute, this time I don't give you second, I just give you the 27 minute and 50 seconds. See that? I didn't give you the seconds on this one. So that's why lining up is so important by the family. Okay, always take the big one first. So we'll put 27 minute, 50 seconds. Take that one. I only got in the form of minutes. I'm just going to keep it in the minute side. Okay, I got nothing to add for this one, so I'm just going to bring it down straight down, and it is less than 60. I'm going to keep it as a 50 seconds. Alright, 7 plus 3 is 10, 0 carry 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, 40 minutes. That's my answer. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? So keep in mind, there's no seconds to add, just bring it down like that. Alright, okay, so vice versa. Okay, now let's say for example, if I had given you the other way around, let's say if I give you this time, I take this one out and I gave you let's see, okay, I gave you how about, okay, let's say take this one out. Okay, I gave you 45 seconds, I'm adding it with 27 minutes and 50 seconds. Alright, so 45 seconds, I'm adding with the 27 minute and 50 seconds. So now I'm lining them up. Take the big one, the one that more numbers in it. Alright, 27 minutes, 50 seconds. Then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to line that with the second family. So I'm going to put 45 seconds right there. Now I'm going to add it. There's nothing for this one to add, alright, over here. But always start from the very right to your right. Okay, 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9, 95 seconds. And we know that 95 seconds is, we can convert that into 1 minute and 35 minutes. 1 minute and 35 seconds, okay? So 1 minute and 35 seconds. So I can take this one and I can add it to the 27. So 27 plus, 7 plus 1 is 8. And I bring the 2 down, that's nothing, okay? So it becomes 28 minutes, 35 seconds. Right there. Alright? The key is lining them up. That's what I'm trying to point to you, okay? So good. Let Mr. Mac erase this board and we do the subtraction, okay? And I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students. Now let's do the subtraction of it, okay? Let's say for example, okay? I give you 25 days and then I give you 16 hours. And I'm subtracting that with 14 days and 8 hours. So what do? Again, lining them up, okay? Lining them up by the family. hours and days. Okay, good, let's do that. So always this got to come first. All right, with addition you can decide which one is bigger and put them first. Okay, with subtraction, no, you got to start with this first and then that goes on the bottom. All right, the below it. All right, so there's no way you can mix it up. Okay, mix and match like the way we do with the addition. With subtraction, I got to take this one first. So 25 days and 16 hours. Okay, then I'm going to bring that one, line them up. 8 hours and 14 days. Okay, very important. Okay, now with just like the addition, you start from the right to your right to the left. Okay, right to the left, very important. You got to start here first. Okay, so 6 minus 8, you can have 16 minus 8, it's 8. So 8 hours. 5 minus 4 is 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, so it makes it 11 days. That's it right there. That's pretty easy, isn't it? Okay, if it's straightforward like that. Let's say, for example, if I were to give you, let's say 14 hours, and then I give you, let's say 10 minutes, and I'm subtracting that with, let's say 9 hours and 45 minutes. Now look at that. What am I going to do? Again, line them up. Okay, I'm going to take this one first. So 14 hours and 10 minutes. And then I'm going to take this one. I'm going to put the 45 right there. And then minute. And then 9 right here. Hours. Before we start subtracting, look at this. 10 and 45. What that tells you? This is smaller than 45. You cannot subtract. Am I right? So what do you have to do? You have to borrow from the hour. Okay, you have to take 1 hour from that and give it to the 10 minutes. And you know that when you take 1 hour out of the 4, it will be what? 3. So that 1 hour equals to 60 minutes. So I'm going to take 60, I'm going to add that to the 10. That gives me what? 70. Okay, so either I can erase this and put 70. There you go. Alright, so because I already borrowed and give it to that one, because we know that 60 plus 10 is 0 plus 0 0, 6 plus 1 is 7, 70. So now I changed it and put it into 70. Did I change the problem? No, it still said 13 hours 70 minutes. I just modified the look out of it, kind of like this way. You're my dearest student, you dressed up in green. When you dressed up in blue, you're still my dearest student. You're still the same student, am I right? It's just that the clothes that you're wearing is different color. The same thing. This thing is still the same. The value is still the same. It's just that I made it look differently. Now I got 13 hours, 70 minutes. Now I can subtract. See that? Okay, I cannot, 0 minus 5, I cannot borrow from 7. 7 becomes 6, 0 becomes 10, 10 minus 5 is 5, 6 minus 4 is 2. So 25 minutes. Now 3 I cannot, 13 minus 9 is 4 hours. Right there, that's my final answer. See that? Very easy, isn't it? Okay, let's say if I give you, let's say 16 days minus 5 days, and I put 16 hours. Look at that. I got 16 days, I'm subtracting with 5 days and 16 hours. But I don't have hours yet, doesn't matter. Okay, you take 1 day out of that and change it to hours. So that gives you 15 days and 24 hours. See, again, you need to know the relationship between the hour and day. And you know that 1 day equals to 24 hours. You know how to do it, but you don't know the relationship, the conversion. Oh, see that? You won't be able to do it. That's why you got to know this in order to do it. See that? So you got to know both how to. Let's say you know the conversion, but you don't know how to do it. You still cannot do it. You don't know the conversion, but you know how to do it. You still cannot do it. So you got to know both. Am I right? So make sure you memorize the conversion. Okay. So we know that 1 day equals to 24 hours. So now I'm going to write down over here. I'm going to bring it here. I'm going to put 15 days. Okay. And then take that 1 day out of the 16 and make it into hours, which is what? 24 hours. Okay, now I'm going to bring this and line it up. Okay, starting from 16 hours on this side and then I'm going to put the 5 days right here. Now I can subtract. 4 minus 6, I cannot borrow from 2. 2 becomes 1, 4 becomes 14. 14 minus 6 is what? 8. Alright, 8. 1 minus 1 is 0, 8 hours. 5 minus 5 is 0, and bring 1 down, 10 days. See that? Pretty easy, isn't it? Mathematics is always easy. It is. It's not only because score math victory. It's because mathematics is always easy. Alright? It's because how it's been brought to you. And that's why Mr. Mac is here to bring it to you through Score A Math Victory. Alright. Okay, so there it is, right there. Okay, good. Now let's talk about how to multiply them. Okay, I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, you ready for multiplication? Alright, come on over. Okay, let's say for example, if I were to give you 3 years and 4 months, and I'm multiplying that with 5. Okay, again, lining them up. Alright, so let's do that. So we write down 3 years. Always keep the units, so that way you know it's 3 years and 4 months. You know, when you multiply, you know what you're doing. Alright, so we're going to multiply. We line it up 5 with the number. So now 5 times 4 is what? 20. Okay, 20. So write down 20 months. Now do not do anything yet. Do not convert it and carry it out. Multiply them out first. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, so now once you multiply everything out, now we're going to convert that 20 months into years. Because why? Because we know that 1 year equals to how many months? 12 months. This is already past that 12. See that? That means I can convert the 12 out of that 20 into 1 year. See that? Because we know that 12 plus 8, because 20 minus 12 is 8. See that? That's 1 year. And the balance is 8 months. Or we can use a division method, okay? So because we know that 1 year equals to 12 months, alright? 12 months. So that means we're going to divide. When we go from year to months, we multiply. Okay, we multiply that by 12. When you go from months to year, we divide that by 12. So we're going to take the 20 months. We're going to divide that by 12. We're going to use the long division method. So 20 is kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put it inside the cage. 12 is kind of divide kind of away from Mr. Mac. It's outside. I'm going to put it in outside the cage. Okay. So in 20, there's how many 12? 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. So 0 minus 2, I cannot borrow from 2. 2 becomes 1. 1 carried here becomes 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, so that means this is my balance, the remainder, and this is my quotient. So that 1 year, 8 months. Okay, same thing. 1 year, by breaking it up, 12 months becomes 1 year, or by dividing also give me 1 year. The remainder, the balance is my 8 months. Now I take that 1 year and add it to 15. See that? So that gives me 5 plus 1 is 6, and then bring the 1 down. 16 years. This is gone. Left is 8 months. Right there. Voila. That's it. Pretty easy, isn't it? Okay. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say if I were to give you 25 minutes, and let's say 25 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, and I'm multiplying that by 12. So what do? I line them up. Okay, very important. I line them up. Okay, so in this case I can just bring it down, the 12 right here, and then multiply right there. Okay, so I'm just going to erase that. I'm just going to rearrange it this way. If I had given you a problem like this, you just rearrange it this way. So I'm going to take this one out. Alright, so now look at this. You got 12. So be careful, you got 2 digits when you're multiplying. Alright, so 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so it's 6. Now I'm going to start with 1. I'm going to start right here. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 0 plus 6 plus 0 is 6. Bring the 3 down. Alright, that is seconds. Okay, am I going to convert that right now? No, multiply them out first. Okay, now remember the 12's kind of lining up. Now bring that 12, line it up with this one. So it'll be, when you have a big number, like a double digit, line them up like that. Because the reason why, because when I multiply this 2 first, 2 times 5 is what? 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. See that? So when I 2 times 5 is 10, I put 0, I carry that 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Now look at that, 1, I bring it straight down right here. That's why I decided to bring it this one and line it up this way. Okay, earlier the 5 is pretty easy, I'm just timesing it once. So it's still, I can put 5 right here too. 5 times 2 is 15. Alright, okay, in this case I wanted to rewrite right here. So now 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 2 is 2. Very important, see that? Okay, setting up like this. Now we add 0, 5 plus 5 is 10, 0 carry 1, 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's 300 minutes. Okay, and 360 seconds. But look at that, 360 seconds. It's already past the 60 seconds, which is 1 minute. That means we're going to convert that into minute. Alright, so we're going to use the long division because it's such a big number. We don't want to break it up like this one. Small number, easy. Big number like that, we're going to divide. Because we're going from second to minute. So we know that the relationship between minute and second is, if you go this way, it's multiply that by 60. When you go this direction, you divide that by 60. Okay, so let me write down here 360 seconds. We want to go to the minute. That means we're going to divide that by 60. Remember we talked about when you got 0, 0 at the end of 2 digits when you're dividing, you can subtract that. Okay, 2 numbers. Okay, you can. When you have 306, when you have two numbers with a 0, 0 at the end, you can cancel them. All right, you can cancel them out. Now it becomes 36 divided by 6. So 36 divided by 6 is what? 6. Because that's in our timetable range. That means 360 seconds equals to 6 minutes. This whole thing becomes what? 6 minutes. I can carry that and add it to that one. 0 plus 6 is 6, 0, 3. 306 minutes. And how many seconds? 0 seconds. And you don't have to show that. This is your final answer. Make sure you do not, remember the 360 we already converted that all thing into minutes. There's no remainder, remember? 36 divided by 6 gave me 6. There's no balance. That's a perfect, okay, division problem, alright? So that's why I take that 6 added up to 300, give me 306 minutes. The final answer is 306 minutes. You don't have to write 0 seconds because the second is gone. Alright? Okay, good. Yeah, that's the multiplication part of it. You ready for the division? Alright, give me a few seconds. I'll be back with you. Alright, my dear students, let's do the division. Okay, let's say for example, if I were to give you, okay, 12 hours. And then I got 24 minutes. And I want to divide that by 4. So what do? Always use the long division method, okay? Now keep in mind, when we were doing the multiplication also, we started where? When we did the multiplication, where did we start when we multiply? We multiply from the right to the left, okay? With a small unit first and then to the big unit, alright? Now with the division, we're going to start from left to right. Division is the only one starts from left to right. Addition, subtraction, multiplication will start from where? Right to left. You start from right to left. You add from right and then you go to left. You subtract from the right and then go to the left. You multiply to the left and then you go to the, you multiply to the right and then go to the left, okay? So you multiply with the right and then go to the left. Now with division, you divide from the left and then go to the right. Division is the only one that's different, alright? So let's do that. We're going to use the long division. Always use a long division when you have something like this, okay? So we're going to put the Kh approach. So we're going to put 12 hours, okay? And then 24 minutes, alright? So we can just put the abbreviation of hours and minute. And then, and 4 is kind of out. I'm going to put outside the Kh. This is kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put inside the Kh. In 12, that's how many 4? 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Minus, give me 0. See that? Now is 0. Then I can go to the 24 minutes. If this becomes 0, there's nothing there for you to continue. Then you go to 24 minutes. 24 divided by 4, it's 6, because you know that 6 times 4 is what? 24 minus, give you 0. Make sure you bring back the units. Very important. So now you know the answer is 3 hours and 6 minutes. Alright? That's the answer for you. Okay? Let's say, for example, if I were to give you, let's say, 35 minutes. And then I give you 35 minutes and let's say 12 seconds. Okay? And I want you to divide that by 3. Divide that by 3. So how do you do that? Again, same principle. Use the long division method. Okay? We're going to use the cage approach. Alright? So this is kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put inside the cage. 35 minute and 12 seconds. Okay? And then 3 is kind of out. I'll put outside. In 3, there's how many 3? 1. See, again, I'm starting from the left to the right. See that? I'm going to start from the left to your left. Okay? 3, there's how many 3? 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Minus, give me 0. I bring the 5 down. In 5, there's how many 3? 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is what? 2. Now remember, this is 2 minutes. I cannot divide anymore, because this is less than 3. So I have to convert that 2 minutes into seconds and add it to that. So 2 minutes equals to how many seconds? 2 minutes to how many seconds? And we know that from minute to second, 60 times 60. So 2 times 60 is 120 seconds. So I can take the 120, add that with 12. So I'm going to take the 12, I'm going to line it up, 120, and then line it up with 12, adding 0 plus 2 is 2, 2 plus 1 is what? 3, bring the 1 down. So 132. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this, and then put down here 132 seconds, because I brought that up. So this is gone. See that? So now I'm taking 132, I'm dividing it by 3. So let's start with the first digit. I cannot. Second, 13. How many 3? 4. Because 4 times 3 is 12. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. I bring the 2 down. In 12, there's how many 3? 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Minus, give me 0. See that? My goal is to bring it down to 0. Now I can bring the minute up and the second up. That's my final answer. See that? That's why you got to start from the left to right, because the remainder of the bigger unit can be converted into the smaller unit and continue and divide it. With the addition, subtraction and multiplication, when you have, let's say for addition and multiplication, when the right unit get bigger, you can convert it, the small unit which get big number, which you can convert it into the big unit. Delete the one I just said earlier. Delete that one. Check again, delete that one, okay? Alright, see that? So it's very important, okay? So, talk to me what I meant by deleting the earlier. Okay, show it to me, I'll show you what to be deleted, alright? Okay, now you can continue from here. Okay, good. So the key is always divide from the left to the right, okay? So now look at that. When I divide after that, after I converted that 2 minutes to seconds, I added to the 12 seconds. 12 plus 120 give me 132. And I take that, I erase that, and put it into that one. Now I divide it. Gave me, once I got it down to 0, 44. So that means this is equals to 11 minutes and 44 seconds. Right there. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say, for example, if I give you 37 days, okay, and then I'm dividing that by, let's say, 12. I'm dividing that by 12. Okay, what do we do? Exactly, you use the long division. Okay, so we're going to put the long division method. We use the Cage approach. 37 days kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put 37 days right there. The 12 kind of out. I'm going to put outside. In 37, how many 12? We know that 3 times 12 is 36. So I'm going to put 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. Minus 7 minus 6 is 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. 1 day left. Now, am I going to leave the answer like this? No. You cannot have a remainder. So we're going to convert that 1 day. What is the unit below the day? Hour. Which is what? How many hours? 1 day got how many hours? 24 hours. So we can take this and make that into 24 hours. This has been converted to 24 hours. See that? So now I bring the days up, so that way you know that one is 3 days. 12 divided by 24 is what? 2. Because 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. Minus, give me 0. Hour. So 37 days divided by 12 gives me 3 days and 2 hours. See that? So very important. The key thing is what? Understanding, knowing, actually I should say, knowing the conversion, the relationship between the hours and days and minutes and hours, seconds and minute, all that. Once you know those, right away, when you see like this, you know that 1 day I can convert that into hours. And 24 divided by 12 give me 2. Which at the end came down to 0. See that? That's the key. Okay? Math is fun, isn't it? It is easy. It's because SCOE Math 3 has provided you the best product for you so that you can do well. Alright? Okay, my dear students, let Mr. Mac erase this. Guess what? It's hands-on practice time, okay? So, yes. He's busy. He's really busy. Good. Let him do it, alright? Give me a few seconds. I'll erase the board and I'll come out. We'll call Pablo out and we have fun with hands-on practice. That's the best part, isn't it? Because everything that you learn, you're putting it to practice. Practice makes it permanent. Alright? Okay, good. Give me a few seconds. I'll be back. Alright, my dear students, are you ready? Are you ready for some hands-on practice? Alright, good. Well, let's call Pablo, okay? I'll call this time, okay? Pablo, come on over, bring the worksheet. Our dear students are ready for some hands-on practice, alright? Okay, here it is, my dear students. Pablo's here with the worksheet and have fun with it, okay? Now, remember, once you're done, invite Mr. Mac in, okay? Have fun. Oh, good. Well, look like you have 4 problems with 2 on each of it. Okay, good. The first one is the addition, okay? So let's do that, addition. Alright, so let's do the first one. The first one is the addition, okay? So let's do 1A. So 1A, you're given 5 years, 11 months, and you're adding it with 3 years and 7 months. So what should be our first step? Ought to be very good, lining them up. Very important, lining them up, and make sure you line them up by their units, by the family, okay? So let's do that. So in this case, when you add, you can pick either one of them to be the first one, okay? Usually pick the one with the big digits. In this case, 5 and 11 is already big digits. So I'm going to start with this one rather than that one. So it'll be easier to line it up, okay? So I'm going to put 5 years, 11 months, okay? So 11 months. So then I'm going to take this one and then I'm going to line it up with that. Now always start with the smaller unit. Always start with the right, okay? So I'm going to take the 7 first, 7 months. Okay, make sure you write down the unit because that way you know you're lining up month with month, year with year. So then I'm going to put 3 years right here. So then I'm going to add it. 1 plus 7 is 8. And then bring 1 straight down, gives you 18 months. Now look at that. When you see 18 months and you know that relationship between year and months. 1 year is how many months? 12 months. Now in this case it's 18 months. That means you already passed that 12. What that tells you? you can what? Convert a portion of the 18 months into 1 year. Okay, so that means we can break this down to 12 plus 6. That 12 makes it 1 year, and the balance 6 months you can leave it as a 6 months. Alright, since the 18 is a small number, we can break it up. If it's a big number, then you use the long division method to break them up. Okay, good. So this makes it 1 year and 6 months. Alright, that means I can take this and add it to the 5. So 5 plus 1 is what? 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. So that's going to give me 9 years. And this is gone. Left is what? 6 months. So that's 9 years, 6 months. Alright, okay, good. Let's look problem B. Now B, you're given 5 weeks, 5 days, and you're adding with 4 weeks, 2 days. Again, we line them up, okay? So that's the first step. So we're going to line it up. So we're going to bring this one first. We're going to write down 5 weeks and 5 days. And then we're going to, let me rewrite this one again, 5 days. And then I'm going to line this one up with this one. Always start from the right, okay? Take the 2 days, and I'm going to put 2, and then put the days, and then put the 4, and then the week. Okay, 4 weeks. I'm going to add them. 5 plus 2 is 7 days. Now look at that. 7 days. 1 week equals to how many days? 7 days. That means I can convert this whole thing into 1 week. That makes it what? This is 1 week. How many days? 0 days. See that? So you don't have to write the 0 days. You can just take it out. So now you bring that 1 week, the 1 up here. So 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So that makes it 10 weeks. There you go. And that's your answer. You don't have to put 10 weeks, 0 days. Because 0 days has no value to it. You just drop it. Just mention 10 weeks. Alright? Sounds good? Okay, good. Alright, let's look at problem number 2. And let Mr. Mac erase the board, and I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, problem number 2, subtraction. Okay, we're given, okay, 2a, 12 hours, 38 minutes. Okay, 12 hours, 38 minutes minus 8 hours, 54 minutes. Okay, again, same thing like the addition. What do we have to do? Line them up. Okay, line them up by their units, by the family. Okay, so you have to start with this one. Alright, you cannot flip-flop when it comes to subtraction. So we're going to start with that one. So we're going to put 12 hours, 38 minutes, and then we'll line it up with 54 minutes. See, as you write down, you should have got it. What is it? 38 minus 54. You cannot. See that? So those are the things. When you write it, concentrate what you're writing. So this way, you will catch it as you write it. So in this case, I know I cannot subtract them. That means I have to borrow from 12. Okay? So I'm going to put the 8 hours. Alright? So I have to take 1 hour and add it to the 38 minutes in order for me to be able to subtract that with 54 minutes. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to borrow 1 from 12, which is 1 from 2. 2 becomes 1, and then I'm going to bring that 1 hour. But that 1 hour equals to how many minutes? 60 minutes. Okay, and I'm going to add the 60 minutes to the 38. So I'm going to take 60 plus 38. That gives me 0 plus 8 is 8. 6 plus 2 is 9. 98 minutes. Alright, so what I do is I can erase this and write the 98 there, and then put a subtract. Alright, so now I can subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. 44 minutes. Now 11 minus 8 is 3. So 3 hours. There you go. So it becomes 3 hours 44 minutes. Alright, pretty easy, isn't it? Well, let's look at B. Now B, you're given 27 minutes minus 14 minutes and 34 seconds. Now look at that. the first part I didn't give you the seconds, but this one I gave you the second. That means I got to have a seconds here. What am I going to do? Very good. I'm going to take 1 minute out of that 27 and turn that into seconds. Alright, so that makes it 26 minutes 60 seconds. Now I can line this one up with that. So I'm going to take the 34 and line it up with 60, and then 14 with 26. And I'm going to subtract right there. So 0 minus 4, I cannot borrow from 6, become 5, and 0 becomes 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 5 minus 3 is 2. 26 seconds. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 12 minutes. Right there. Pretty easy, isn't it? Alright, good. I know you got it right. Good job. I'm so proud of you. Okay, let's do problem number 3 and let Mr. Mac erase the board. Okay, and I'll be back with you. Alright, my dear students, you ready for the multiplication part of it? Okay, good. So, how did you do in the multiplication? Good job. See that? That timetable was so handy, isn't it? That's why Mr. Mac always emphasized that. Timetable, timetable, timetable. You got to memorize it. Alright, without knowing your timetable, there's no way you can solve it. Alright, so that's the basic of this, alright? Knowing the timetable. Okay, good, let's do that. Number 3A. So 3A, you're given 15 years, 4 months. And you're multiplying that by 7. So, again, same thing, we'll line it up, alright? Very important, lining them up, okay? So you put 15 years and 4 months. And then we're going to put the 7 right below the 4. And we're going to multiply. Okay? 7 times 4 is 28. Exactly. 28 months. Okay? Now look at this. 28 months. It's already past that. What's the relationship between months and year? 1 year equals to 12 months. So it's already past the 12 months. See that? But are we going to convert that right now? No, not now. We're going to multiply them out first and then we're going to convert it, alright? Okay, so 7 times 5 is 35. We're going to put 5 and then carry the 3. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 3 is 10. So it comes to 105 years, okay? So now we're going to convert that 28 months, okay, into years. So we know that from month to year. What do? We divide that by 12, okay? So that means 28, I'm going to divide that by 12. So I'm going to use the long division method. So we're going to use the cage approach. The 28 is kind of into Mr. Mac, I'm going to put inside the cage. The 12 is kind of out, I'll put outside the cage. In 28, there's how many 12? 2, because 2 times 12 is 24. So 2 times 12 is 24, minus 8 minus 4 is 4, 2 minus 2 is 0. Alright, now that means I got 2 years out of the 28 months, and the balance, the remainder is the 4 months. So that means 2 years, 4 months. So I'm going to put down I'm going to bring the 2 years, I'm going to add it to the 105 and then leave the 4 months right here. Okay? So that gives me 5 plus 2 is 7. Bring the 0, bring the 1, and years. So 107 years and 4 months. Okay, good. Alright, let's do problem B. Okay, problem B, you're given 14 days, 16 hours times 13. Alright, so what are we going to do? Bring the 30, line it up, okay? Now look, in this case, 13 is a 2-digit. So I want you to put 13, you multiply right there, 13 multiply right there. Okay? And then put a line. Because with the 1 digit, you can easily multiply like that. With 2 digit, because of lining them up, I want you to put 113 here, 113 there, multiply them separately. Alright? Okay, let's do that. Let's start with this one. 13 times 6 is 18. 3 times 6 is 18, carry 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Okay? Now, see there's 1 right there? We're going to start right here. Very important. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. Now I'm going to add it. 8. 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry 1. 1 plus 2 is 1 plus, okay, then carry 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So it gives you 208 hours. Okay, 208 hours. Now look at this one. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, I'm going to carry 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. 1, and then now look at this one. 1, I'm going to start right here. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. Now I'm going to add them. 2, 4 plus 4 is 8, and then bring 1. So that's 182 days. And 208 hours. 208 hours should tell you that you already passed the 24 hours, which makes 1 day. But that looks like this. There must be several 24 hours in there. That means we can convert several days out of that. 208 hours. So what are we going to do? We're going to use the long division method. Okay. So we know that we're moving from hours to days. So hours to days. What do we do? We're going to divide that by 24. Okay, to get to the day. Because from the rotation thing, we know that day to hour, when you go this way, you multiply that by 24. When you go this direction, you divide that by 24. See that? So that means we're going to divide that 208 with 24. Okay, so we're going to use the long division method. Okay, so we're going to use the cage approach. 204, we're going to put inside the cage because it's closer to Mr. Mac. And then the 24, which is out, I'm going to put outside the cage. Okay, so 2 you cannot, first digit you cannot, second digit 20 you cannot, so you got to do 8. So it will be 208. There are how many? 24. So in this case, we're going to use the trial and error because this is outside our timetable range. Okay, so let's try with 6. So let's take 24 times 6. 4 times 6 is 24. So 4. And then I'm going to carry the 2. 2 times 6 is 12 plus 2 is 14. Wow, that's way out. See that? So I can add more. So let's do 9. So let's try 24 times 9. Okay? So 24 times 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Okay? So I'm going to put 6 and then I'm going to put 3. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. We already passed it. So now I can tell it could be 8. Alright? So then let's just put 8 right here. Okay, because it's not too much I passed it. Alright? So that means I can tell 8 could be possibly amount of 24 inside the 208. And that's how you do trial and error. Alright? So now 8 times 4 is what? Very good. It's 32. Okay? 8 times 2, 16. 16 plus 3, it's 19. So it's 19. So 192. See that? That got closer to 208. That's how you do trial and error. Okay? So now we're going to subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6. 0 minus 9. I cannot borrow from 2. 2 becomes 1. 0 becomes 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, so that tells me in 204 hours there are 8 days and 16 hours. Because that's the remainder. The remainder is your hours. The quotient is your days. So what's your final answer would be? Because I'm going to take this 8 days, I'm going to add it to the 182. So that gives me 182. Line up the 8 with it. Plus 2 plus 8 is 10, 0, carry 1, 1 plus 8 is 9, and then bring the 1 down, so it becomes 190. Okay, so give me 190. Okay, so 190 days. So we're going to write down 190 days, and this is gone. Left is what? 16 hours. So we're going to put 16 hours, and that's your final answer. Okay, so 190 days and 16 hours. And I know you got it. Alright, good job, well done. Alright, good. Okay, good. Now let's go to problem number 4 on the division. Okay, so give me a few seconds and I'll be back and we'll do the division together. Alright, my dear students, you ready for division? Okay, let's do problem number 4. 4a, you're given 4a, 14 years, 6 months, and we're going to divide that by 6. Alright? Now remember, when you're dealing with division, where do we start from? From the right to left, because addition, subtraction and multiplication, we've always been doing what? From the, so whenever you're dealing with division, where do you start? From left to right. Except for addition, subtraction, multiplication, we always start from the right to left, okay? Which is from your right to left, alright? So keep in mind, multiplication, addition and subtraction, right to left from you, and then division, left to right, okay? We're going to start from left to right. So we're going to use the long division method. Always when you have a problem like that, use the long division, okay? When I say long division, we're going to use the cage approach. So this is kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put it inside the cage. So it'll be 14 years, 6 months, alright? And we're dividing it by 6. 6 kind of out, I'm going to put outside. In 14, there's how many 6? Because we know that 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, that's the closest that 12 can get to 14. So 2 times 6 is 12. Minus, give me 4 minus 2 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. So you got 2 years. So you want to convert that 2 years into months. So 1 year equals to how many months? 12 months. So 2 years equals to 2 times 12, which is 24 months. Alright, so it's going to be 24 months. So we're going to take that 24 months, we're going to add that to 6. So let's write down here, 24 plus 6, 4 plus 6 is 10, 0 carry 1, 1 plus 2 is 3. So that gives it 30 months. So I'm going to put down here 30 months, alright? So 30 months. Or we can even erase that and put 30, alright? And then just cancel it. That way you know that it's out of the way. Okay? Okay, so we're going to take the 30, we're going to divide that by 6. In 30, there's how many 6? 5. Because we know that 5 times 6 is 30. Minus, give me 0. See that? And that's pretty much done. So that means we know, bring the years up, 2 years, 5 months. So by dividing that, that should give me 2 years, 5 months. Okay? Alright, good. Let's look at problem B. Problem B, you're given 58 hours. And you're dividing that by 8. Alright, again, what method we're going to use? The long division method. Now in this case, I just gave you 58 hours. I didn't give you the minute. Okay, so that means that you're going to use the 58 hours to divide that by 8. Let's do that. So we're going to put the long division, we're going to put the cage. 58 hours is kind of into Mr. Mac. I'm going to put it inside the cage. So we're going to put 58 hours. And then 8 is kind of dividing, 8 is kind of out. I'm going to put outside the cage. In 5, I cannot go to the next digit, which will be 58. In 58, there's how many 8? Well, from our timetable. So what would be the closest to get to 58? Well, let's see. 8 times 7. What's 8 times 7? Alright? Good job. Okay? So 8 times 7 is 56. Alright? So we know that 8 times 7. So 7 times 8 is 56. Minus 8 minus 6 is 2. 5 minus 5 is 0. So you got 2 hours. But here you got the balance. So what do you want to do? You want to convert that 2 hours into minutes. And you know that 1 minute, how many hours? I mean 1 hour has how many minutes? 1 hour has 60 minutes, alright? That means 2 hours, you can multiply that by 60, will give you 120 minutes. So I'm going to put the 120 minutes right here. Okay, carried it up there. Alright? So now I'm going to divide 120 with 8. In 12, 1 you cannot go to the next digit. In 12, there's how many 8? 1. So 1 times 8 is 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. And then I'm going to bring the 0 down. In 40, there's how many 8? 5. So 5 times 8 is 40. Minus, give me 0. Okay? So now I'm going to bring the minute up and the hour up. So it came to 7 hours and 15 minutes. Wow. Isn't that awesome? It's so easy, isn't it? It's so much fun. Mathematics is always fun, alright? Alright, my dear students, look like you're doing really good. Okay, so this is what hands-on practice is all about. To get you prepared so that you can do the quiz on your own. Alright? Okay, good. Well, go have fun with the quiz, and then I'll see you in the next sub lesson. Alright? And Mr. Mac will be here and looking forward to continue with our next sub lesson. Alright? Okay, have fun.